I didn't know if we could survive when Elijah and Joe both had bad games, but we did. Marek was huge. Buddy had a really good first half. Second half, we really couldn't get him a shot over there. They just started face guarding him, but that makes the lanes open. And Elijah finally got in there and got to the basket and hit Marek, and Quincy got a couple. Our defense was good. We really did a good job guarding the three-point line. You know, it hurts us when Boeheim goes out, hurts our inside defense. He was good tonight defensively, and when he goes out, it does hurt us in there. But, you know, they're a good team, good defensive team, and it's not easy to score. With Joe and Elijah not being on their game, I don't think either one of them made a three, probably. Well, maybe one. Joe made that one. That was a big shot, too. He hadn't made anything, and then he sticks that one, so that was good. But, you know, we survived those two guys having a bad game, which is good. Good thing for this team.
How many guys have you coached over the years that can do as many things as Marek's been able to do this year and all these years?
You know, he's good at the four. It's good to have a versatile guy there. We've had a few guys that can do some of those things, but he's really versatile player. Plays center, plays forward. He handles the ball, takes it out. He's a huge key to what we do.
When Boeheim goes out with his fourth foul, you have to go with Quincy for a long stretch.
Right.
What was he able to give you in there?
Not enough. He's got to do more. You know, he's a good player. He's got to get more. He's got to do better. He's trying to learn the game, figure out where he can go and not. You know, he'll get a couple big rebounds, make a couple really great plays, and then misses something on defense. Or that last rebound, Johnson misses it and gets a rebound right over him. You know, he's 6'2". We got to get that rebound. You know, he's learning. Again, he didn't play. He hasn't played organized ball really in a long time, and he's learning the game. What he does well, he does well. I'm just glad he made the 2 free throws at Notre Dame. That might have been our miracle for the year, so we'll see. I think he's going to make a 3 someday, but I'm not sure if it's going to be in my lifetime, but he's going to make one someday.
Welcome to the Cuse Militia Podcast with those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
What's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning into the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. If you like it, please share it. The universal handle for the socials is @Cuse Militia. Go there, join the militia. We are the only Syracuse sports podcast centered around giving you, the fans, a voice. We appreciate it. Happy Sunday. Sunday fun days. Kinda, yeah. So, we're recording a little later than normal because Joe's got a 1940 Impala that he just can't let go of. No, I'm way over-exaggerating, but what is this thing? Is it 2000? It's an antique, right? You can put some antique tags on this thing, right?
Hey, man, it gets me from A to B.
What is it, though? What year is it?
2000.
It is a 2000. Okay. Mm-hmm. You can get some antique tags for that thing. At least make it cool.
Oh, God.
Come on, man. If you're going to do it right. Anyways, Joe had some trouble. Put it this way. He didn't drive his car back from where he was fixing it. He had to borrow a vehicle.
This is all irrelevant.
But anyway, it's funny because we were behind. We're behind getting to the show. We were behind on the game. I really missed getting on Twitter live with everybody. That's always a ton of fun. I just love going through it while we're doing it. But man, I was over 2 hours behind on so the game was actually over pretty much before I even started it. So anyway, it is what it is. The Orange improved to 13-7. Oh, and if you're wondering how I get the tweet out. Thoughts on the game tweet. I had my son just say, game's over. That's it. Just tell me when the game's over so I can put the tweet out. And so I did. Or he did, and I did. Anyway, Our Orange do 13-7, 6-3 in the ACC as they tame the Panthers 69-61 at the Carrier Dome. And the Orange will get back on the road. They're going to head South Carolina, to South Carolina Tuesday, the 28th, to play the 10-9, 4-5 in the ACC Clemson Tigers. So we will get into all of that stuff, but. Tragedy today. I guess we would be remiss to not mention this, but Kobe Bryant lost his life in a helicopter crash. I'm sure everybody already knows. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. But the point being is that as someone who does not watch the NBA, he was one of the classier, hardworking guys out there. And so...
Yeah.
With that said, I mean, it's extremely sad, let alone, his 13-year-old daughter being there in the helicopter with him. So just extremely sad. I remember when Dale Earnhardt died. I remember that day. This is very similar. Very similar. We didn't have social media back then. So
I couldn't believe it. I actually had to stop working on my car for about half an hour because I just couldn't believe it. But
I know it's crazy, and like I said, I'm not a big NBA fan. I never watched a lot of it. It was not, but still took me back. I couldn't believe it either. So, anyways, thoughts and prayers to his family. I cannot believe what his wife must be going through right now, and the other girls,
family members,
and family members. So, anyway, look, we're gonna get into all of that stuff, everything orange, here in a second. But first, I want to tell you about the good folks over at MyBookie, past, present, and future MyBookie players. Listen up. It doesn't matter whether you're an experienced player or a first-time customer. MyBookie welcomes all to come to play. So quit waiting around and join up with MyBookie today. If you do, here's the deal. When you sign up today, MyBookie will match your deposit dollar for dollar. If you go to mybookie.ag and use the promo code CHAIR, they'll match you 100% to jumpstart that bankroll. And if you got questions, no worries. MyBookie's patient customer service team can walk you through the process and answer any questions you have. Again, join today with using the promo code CHAIR at mybookie.ag and make your first deposit. And MyBookie will match you dollar for dollar. You play, you win, you get paid. MyBookie. Thank you, MyBookie. So, all right. Syracuse wins its fifth straight game, despite a determined charging Pitt team who rallied back to erase a 20-point lead. It started with an 8-0 run nearing the end of the first half. In the game, the Orange had to win, and as we know now, this is a quad 3 game. So it was a quad 3 win, which they had to have. So, to avoid another loss and at home in front of the home crowd, the good again, 36 points in the paint. That second game in a row with the same amount of points in the paint. That's awesome. Syracuse's inside game MVP has to be Dolezaj. Dolezaj shocked me. I couldn't believe it when I even saw it on the stat sheet. I didn't realize 17 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, and 1 steal. 7 for 7 from the line. Bro, that is awesome. Hats off to Dolezaj. Quincy off the bench with 10 points, 8 rebounds. Chalk up 18 fast break points for Syracuse. And again, Syracuse out-rebounds their opponent, plus 6 on the boards, 39 to 33? Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So, excellent. The bad. Gerard got the broadcaster curse, missed a free throw. I don't know if you caught that, Joe, but
yes, I did.
It's so annoying. It's so weird how that happens. But
yeah, it really is.
He's still holding down the fort with 94.5%, 52 of 55. Him and Hughes with 2 points in the first half. Buddy Boeheim, 18 points in the first half, and 3 in the second. Is that bad? It's not really that bad. But what is bad is when Buddy hit that last 3, Joe and Elijah were a combined 7 points. So Gerard finished with 7. Hughes finished with 10. You heard Coach, those guys have an off game, and we still pull it off. The ugly, the turnovers. Turnovers were one of Joe G's 3 points, and Syracuse managed to pile up 13 that led to 15 Pitt points. Some of these turnovers, too, in my opinion, were pretty avoidable. I mean, there's some bad passes, and Joe just got stripped. He got pickpocketed like nobody's business. So that's ugly. But 5 of 21 from behind the arc, and here's the deal, in my opinion. And I think our shooting hasn't been great, but I think we lose the last 2 games if we haven't got this newly found inside game that we've been working on, and I think it's great. And we're shooting less because of that, but we're making, percentage-wise, we're down. So when this team can finally put both of those aspects together, though, I mean, look out. It's going to be lights out, I think. So it's just a matter of putting it together. More learning, I suppose.
Yeah, learning, and like you said, we definitely wouldn't have won those last 2 games if the guys down low if they hadn't figured it out. When you look at this game, just the points and the rebounds between Sadidi and Guerriere and Dolzaj, that won the game. I mean, to be, like you said, Gerard and Elijah combined had 2 points at halftime, and we were still up 11, right? So I think that obviously that's what pulled it through. But again, just, what we talked about, not really a great matchup for Pittsburgh as far as offensively. We have been getting better down low, not only scoring, but also with, the foul trouble and being aggressive and getting the rebounds, playing a little bit harder. I think playing those really kind of skilled and big men earlier in the season kind of got us prepped because there's not too many. I mean, you take away Mooney and some other people. I know we haven't played against Duke yet. They got a pretty good one over there, Vernon Carey, but we haven't really played a lot of like highly offensively skilled big men in the ACC. That's one of the areas I think that's kind of lacking in this conference this year. So I think that you're finally seeing, the fruits of that as far as being able to get that early experience. And now anything that they take or see as far as ACC, they've already seen it. So that's really the biggest takeaway as far as this game goes. I knew that Pittsburgh was going to be tough. They were going to be gritty. I felt like Xavier Johnson probably had about 13 fouls overall. Then he was just all over the place. So again, it was an ugly game, and I know that there's a lot of people. We were up 16 and we let them get close. Well, that kind of happens when you stop making your shots. And to your point, once we get this all glued and gelled together, I mean, there's points where you see us scoring down low and we're doing inside-outside driving and it looks good. You never really know who's going to do what. And then we still sometimes revert back to that ISO ball where it's Elijah or a buddy trying to make a shot, and forcing it sometimes instead of doing, I think, kind of what was working and just kind of letting the offense naturally flow. You see sometimes Elijah tries too hard, gets caught in the air, makes some mistakes. So, again, that's just learning. He was frustrated, Joe was frustrated, and in those moments I think we got to just keep feeding who works and what works, right? So sometimes that just happens, right?
Yeah, I mean, it just stopped, and I mean, you would know better than me, but you're watching it and you're going, why? I mean, why stop that? Because they really, what happened is they stopped Buddy. Really, they were getting up on Buddy. They were all over him. He wasn't getting any more good looks. And instead of just continuing with the inside game, they were just trying to get Cuse going, which I get it. But, I mean, hot hand. Like, you talk about running backs in football. I mean, just, same type of theory. You give it to the hot hand and let him work. Because Dolzaj was feeling it. I mean, he was.
Well, you looked at it, and right. I mean, usually you're going to be more confident with Elijah or Buddy or Joe going to the free throw line. And, I was watching the game with my dad, and they fouled Dolzaj there at the end. I think when we were only up 2 or 3, and he's like, "Oh, great, they fouled Dolzaj," and I'm like, "He's 100%." You saw Joe Girard miss one, Buddy missed 2 in a row, Elijah Hughes missed 2 in a row, Quincy missed 2. Who else? I was actually the most confident. It happens sometimes. Like certain games, people just get in rhythms, and you got to feed the hot hand. So it was, kudos to us to be able to pull off that win with Elijah and Joe kind of
staggered.
Not being on their A game on offense, but
the 10 points for Elijah was a season low too.
Yeah, but that also goes towards the fact that Pittsburgh is like we can't play that bad offensively against most teams. That's just Pittsburgh is just like our 2-3 zone is just a nightmare when it comes to as far as a matchup for their offense. They still don't have a lot of scoring down low, and their outside shooting kind of lacks other than one guy. and we made sure that we got on him. So overall, good win. Obviously, finally come home and actually get a win at home. I mean, I know we beat BC too, but the 3 losses we've had in the ACC were at home. So I was glad to see a filled dome. It looked pretty filled in there. It was pretty loud.
Largest crowd of the year. I think it's 23,000, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, it was good to see them come home and still, they finished the deal. I know they had a big lead, and that's when the other teams, they go all out, and sometimes it's hard to stop that, especially when you kind of get in cruise control because you're up 15, 13 points. So
it just looked like it was going to be a massacre, and then you get the 8-0 run.
No, then you stop making shots, right?
Yeah, you get the 8-0 run towards the end of the half. They end up being up by 11, but. And to be honest with you, after that happened, going up by 11 going into the half, that was a win for me. I mean, feeling like losing that momentum and just being able to just hit the reset button coming in the second half and starting over again. But I mean, Dolezaj though 7 for 7 from the free throw line. He's been killing it from the free throw line too. That was not in his forte last year.
A lot of that is just confidence, man.
Yeah. So anyway, really good game. We talk about having to win these games. It might not have been a quad 3 loss if Pitt had won.
Right.
They'd have probably jumped up in the net a little bit. But this is not a team that's really on its way up in the ACC. I don't think. And
I think that they're going to give the middle. There's going to be a lot of teams that they give trouble to, but it's just this year in the ACC, it just seems like almost anybody can beat anybody any day. So you only hope that it can get better from here, but we're about halfway through ACC play, so only time will tell.
Yeah, only time will tell. But a good win, and like we always say, it's better to have a ugly win than a pretty loss, and I just don't. Some people.
And what is it? 75 for a quad 2?
75 at home for a quad 2. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for them to get there.
No, they fell to. They were a 74. Pitt was a 74, and I think they're a 77 now.
Yeah. So it's not out of the realm of possibility.
No,
that's going to flicker back and forth.
Yeah. Right. When you're on Notre Dame's the same way. And so is
the next team
Virginia
we play.
Tech. Virginia Tech's right around there too. So and not for anything, Virginia could become. That's not a quad 1 win right now. So I know
Clemson's sitting at about 81. So
yeah,
they're
Clemson's
all right
82. Yep, Clemson I think is 82. So that's going to be a quad 2 game.
It'll be quad 2 because it's away. But
yeah. And if you don't know, quad 1. Is 1 through 30 at home. Neutral is 1 through 50, and away is 1 through 75. 31 through 75 for home. Neutral is 51 to 100. Away is 76 to 135, and then so on. After that, really,
after that, you just got to win.
Yeah, after that, you got to win. You really only need to worry about
Doesn't
those
matter
two.
where you're playing.
Yeah, and I'm not going unless you can look at it. Me spewing it is not going to make any sense. So
not after that. Not after the first 2. No. It
gets convoluted. So
yes, sir.
Anyway, all right, let's hear from you.
It's time to hear from you, the loudmouths from the Loud House.
All right, y'all know what to do at the end of every game. Go there to the socials, and I'll propose the question, thoughts on the game. You give them, and we talk about them. Now. We started last week doing, Joe and I splitting duties on this, but Joe was busy today. Joe was working on his car. I guess that's what he calls it. It ain't starting now. It started when he began working on it, and now it's not starting. So I don't know if he's really worked
Dude, all I
on
need
it.
to do is clear a code, and I'm good, bro. I just don't have a scanner.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. At If Not Now when 84. Buddy went dark in the second. Pitt might have closed in on him. I hate that we're letting teams back in the game that we're blowing out early. Just put them away and move on. Won the rebounds and the points in the paint. Again, love that. On to the next. Go Cuse. So, there was a tweet responded to us yesterday from at Nick Sweetland. I think it is his name. And what it said was he thought that Syracuse had won 6 of the last 8 battle of the boards against the teams we played, and they did. I looked it up. Nick Sweetland. What'd I say? That's what I said.
Nick Sweetland.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what I thought. So, yeah, he says, I believe they've out-rebounded 6 of the last 8 teams now. Yeah, and we, look, and I know some of the competition is what it is, and, it's probably, we started with, some pretty heavy-duty guys down low, and it was really tough. But on the other hand, too, I think we've gotten going. And you could tell because, I mean, even Sidibe's getting these ones, and a lot of it's just where you are at. And maybe they're learning where to be.
Effort.
Yeah, effort and getting to where you need to be. Buddy going dark in the second, Joe. I mean, it's like
we've seen it before.
Yeah, it's kind of a thing with Buddy. It is what it is. We'd love.
No, if you were a coach,
I look at the total score. I look at the totals of what he did. It sucks scoring 18 and then 3, but at the end of the day, he scored 21 points. Without his 18 in the first half, we don't build that lead. We probably don't win that game.
Well, I mean, like I said, if you had a guy that scored 18 points against you and you go into halftime and you were a coach, then what are you doing?
Right. You're going to adjust. You're going
to adjust to not let that. Obviously, He's having a day. Let's slow him down and let's make everybody else beat you.
Right.
And that's what they essentially did.
Yeah, totally. At Tony Staffieri on Twitter. This one I love. Credit to the coaches. Credit the kids for accepting the coaching. With the emergence of Sidibe and what seems to now be a more anchored middle, imagine the balance this team would have with a talented big next season. Has to be a late signing period priority. So there is a transfer in the works. A grad transfer.
No, they're thinking, they're looking at it.
And Joe and I haven't talked about it, and the reason Joe and I haven't talked about it is because it's just, I mean, when it starts
still
to get,
a lot to be going.
When it starts to become more clear of what's going on, then we'll talk about it. But there is a grad transfer in the works, and there is the late signing period type stuff. But he's exactly right, though. And
you look at just our recruits and everything, our roster, we have 13 full scholarships, and we already have 2 commits signed, and then you're talking about bringing in a graduate transfer. That means you need to make room for 3. And you can always move Buddy to off a scholarship, take a walk-on spot. That opens up 1, which means if we still get a graduate transfer or a big man or anything like that, then that still means that 2 players that are on this team aren't going to be there this year, whether it's NBA or whether it's transfer. So, I mean, we can sit here and speculate all we want, but, yeah, we can have all of this cohesion and everything, but this roster isn't going to be exactly the same next year that it is this year. And just going back to a little bit that I really didn't get to say the comment before, we still have to realize how young this team is and how we are just starting to gel and get confidence and everything. So there's still a young team that are still trying to figure out how to win those games at the end, too. So it's going to be ugly, just knowing the experience and knowing the way that Pitt played defense and everything, that if they got it close, which they did, Champagne or whatever his name is, he had foul trouble. I mean, if he doesn't get in foul trouble, because he was pretty solid when he came in the second half. He only played 26 minutes, and a guy that usually plays about 33. So if he doesn't get in foul trouble and they get a few more turnovers, then you never know, because that's where they made their comeback, when he came in second half and when they actually started getting some turnovers and scoring. So you just got to be happy that we won.
Other than Boston College, this matches the mold for almost blowing the game. We talked about it last episode. We had pretty decent leads on all 4 of those other teams. Boston College was beat handily. But other than them, the other 4, we've had good leads on them, and they made it close at the end. They were all, right. In fact, I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Pitt game winning by 8, that was probably the largest lead, the largest point margin other than Boston College. I think. I'd have to go back and look, but I think it was. So, but it was
Right.
it was
And,
it was
like,
Syracuse up by 3 with 32 and a half seconds left. Right. So I mean,
Yeah.
it was right there. But
I get it, but it happens to people all the time. And again, I'm going to go back to the fact that there is this youth and that this type of things are only going to make them better. And we never lost the lead the whole game. We led the whole game.
Yeah, we led
and
the whole game,
And we
yeah.
closed it out. So
Yep.
it's just, I mean, I get what people say, but we do have to put it in perspective, and it's still a win. And no reason to look at every single negative off a win like this. 5 in a row, we're 13-7. So
yeah, absolutely. And back to Tony's point, credit the coaches, credit the kids for accepting coaching. Absolutely, they're obviously responding to it. So,
Yeah.
and the coaches have made some serious adjustments this year so far, and it's not always visible, but I think it's visible. A lot of these games, it's visible, especially the second time around we played some of these teams. You can
Yep.
see the difference in the coaching and just the game plan in general. At Dave Hewitt 2, JG3 was another day of no hustle. Not sure why. He has games where he just doesn't do anything. Maybe freshman and being a star in high school hasn't completely made the change yet. Will be a star when he plays hard every night. Joe, for a freshman though, this kid is putting it on. And he does a great job. He does more than just score, too.
well, he's been pretty good with rebounding. I know he had 9
had
rebounds
4.
against Notre Dame.
Yeah, he had 4.
Just because you don't score doesn't mean you're not hustling. I don't see that. If you're not hustling, everyone knows who Jim Boeheim is. You're going to get taken out if you don't hustle. He's done it before. Bryson Godine's been playing pretty good, and you just got to look at the matchup. Those guards really weren't that good. As far as offensively, there was a different story, but those guards on defense were pretty good. As far as Xavier Johnson, McCowan's, Murphy's where he kind of got his open shots, but when Tony and Johnson and McGowan's were in there, those 3 guards, they play lockdown D. So sometimes I guess I don't think people look at the situation where some people, even me included, myself included, I thought Joe Girard had a chance of redshirting this year, right? Coming in.
Yeah, you did say that.
Yeah, everybody thought that Carey was going to be the point guard. So
Yeah.
I don't think he even thought that he was going to be the point guard going against some of these guys. So there's going to, he's going to get stripped by some of these guys, and some of these guys are really going to give him problems. So, but again, you see that he does have that. You do see it where, like the Notre Dame game at home, where he went off and he has hit some open shots pretty consistently when he does get open shots. But the problem is that he's going against some good guards as a freshman, and he's still trying to figure it out, and he's not getting the best of shots when we're playing these type of pressure man-to-man teams.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make excuses because he's going to have to get better, but he's still a freshman. We just have to put that into perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. He'll get better. Buddy had his moments last year. In fact, Buddy in non-conference play last year was just awful, if you remember.
Yeah, it took him a little while, and
yeah.
at the same time, he had what? 2 seniors and 2 other guys that left early for the NBA.
Yeah.
And everyone wants to compare him to Jerry McNamara. Joe Girard doesn't have a Carmelo Anthony and a Hakeem Warwick to just pass it to and figure it out, right? So,
Right. Yeah.
he carries a lot more of the burden.
Yep. Christopher on Facebook, good win. A bit sloppy at times, a bit too many turnovers, but a win is a win. Boy, nailed it. You could have stopped there, but he goes on. Hughes wasn't all there today, but it was nice to see others step up. Sidibe seems like he's really stepping it up as of late. He's doing things offensively that I wasn't sure he could do, and his defense has been good, just a bit too foul prone still. Yeah, look, dude, that was the only comment we needed. That covers everything. It covers a lot. You covered a lot right there, Christopher. So let's we hit up some of that other stuff. So Sidibe, we haven't talked about Sidibe yet, dude. Two games in a row. Now look, he didn't exactly light it up this game like he did against Notre Dame with the 12 points, but 4 points. Can't complain. 8 rebounds in 20 minutes. Got in foul trouble. But we're talking 20 minutes, 4 points, 8 rebounds. That's good. Just, think about it. 16, if you double it, 16 and 8. So,
Yeah, I think that's kind of where Boeheim wants to be, right? Is right around the 20, and because we don't want City to be playing the whole game because that means Guerrier's not coming in, right? So
right, yeah.
you want to have that little back and forth, and obviously it does depend on the matchup, but where I saw actually a huge improvement as far as Sidibe, when I know he had the 4 fouls, I thought he had some BS ones called on him, but
There was at least one.
yeah, and I thought there was no over the back that kind of, but either way, at least one, but he didn't fall out, and on defense, dude. I mean, he was on point on defense.
Great. Yeah, he was. And he was great against
And aggressive,
Mooney,
just getting his
against
hands on
Notre
it.
Dame. Yeah, he didn't drop anything, and he did. He was open a couple times, and I think the guys saw him, but they didn't throw it to him. But he didn't have any turnovers. He didn't put it on the ground and lose it or anything. He didn't do nothing stupid. So, and he's making his shots. He's now 8
for 8 in his last 2 games, right?
Yeah, 8 for 8. So, yeah, I mean, can't be mad at that, no doubt.
No, not at all.
Steve on Facebook, if everyone comes to play in the same game, they would be #1 team in the country. Rebounded well, defended fair. Too many easy entry points by Pitt. Good game plan, just not executed well. Missed shots, free throws. Happy for the win. Well, Joe?
Teams are going to score points. I mean, I think that's nitpicking a little bit, a lot of that. Sorry, I'm not trying to call you out there, buddy, but I mean, I don't obviously, when you try to work through the zone and you're not shooting threes and your only chances are to drive the lane or get them to the free throw line and have some guys flashing the baseline, you're going to get some spots. I think if our offense doesn't stall out and we continue to make some shots and Elijah has a normal game, then we win that game by 17, 13. Like, it never even gets to that point, right? So, again, I think everyone's kind of missing the boat here. That, I mean, I would venture to guess that this is probably the lowest total scoring combined between Joe Girard, Elijah, and Buddy probably for the whole year. And we beat an ACC opponent. So
yeah,
that's really the takeaway here. The takeaway is that everybody else stepped up on a day when he finally became the leading scorer of the ACC. He came out and kind of threw a stinker out there, and we still won.
Yeah. And to Steve's point, though, if everyone comes to play in the same game, they'd be #1. Well, I don't know if they'd be #1 in the country, but if everybody came to play and was consistent, which this doesn't happen often on any team.
No.
So it's a fantasy. But what he's saying is we have the players, and if they're all clicking, it's dangerous. And absolutely. And I still think that just with the game on the inside now and what Dolerzai is doing is like really important to get the guys that are hitting our jump shots outside going. It seems like the past couple games it's been a little flat. So
yeah, we just haven't been making them.
Yeah, I mean, and
as much as Jim wants to downplay Guerrier, he's been playing way better the last couple of games.
Well, yeah, you heard what he said in the coach montage. I played most of it, which was but that's motivation. That's coach motivating.
That's how. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
he knows what the deal is.
Yeah,
at the end of the day, Quincy's played probably his. I don't want to say his best 3, but he's been solid like pretty much the last 3 games.
Though. Yeah.
And that's better than he's been playing all year. And for him to still say that, all that is motivation. It's like, hey, you haven't arrived yet, buddy. I know you're playing better. Keep it going. Yeah,
it's like basically keeping him humble at this point. And maybe make a freaking 3-pointer. Why don't you? Before Coach croaks. How about that?
Because I'm assuming he probably makes them in practice. He has talked about how he's been shooting it better. And he didn't get taken out when he made this or when he missed this last 3. So
right.
Or took the last 3, I should say. So he's taken them out in the past. So obviously he had the green light to shoot the open ones, and he just didn't make it. And I think he understands, just like everybody else, for him to be able to come off the bench and be able to I think he wants to give him more minutes, but if he's going to give him 25 minutes, then he's got to get a double-double out of him.
Yeah. That's the only thing, and it'll come. It's just he's been slowly getting he's slowly getting his minutes. He's someone that where you talk about the speed of the game, affecting someone, and you maybe compare him to Gerard, where Gerard, you see it sometimes, but with Quincy at the beginning of the year was like very obvious. He was like a lost puppy out there. So for a lot of especially in the non-conference play. So even coming into SEC play. But James on Facebook, not one top fan. I didn't read. Do I even have a top fan in here? Oh, Daryl. Daryl says, guess who missed the game again because of work? Yep, this guy. Can't wait to hear the podcast. All right, Daryl. Get DVR, buddy. Told you. James on Facebook. Daryl, top fan. That's why I had to read one top fan for crying out loud.
Right.
James says, got sloppy at times, but we're winning, so I won't complain. If we beat Clemson, and regardless of the Duke outcome, I think we might be in good shape. Joe, we talk about these 3 games we got coming up here, and it's Duke, Florida State, and Louisville. Do we have to win? Just in your opinion here, do we have to win one of those games to be relevant for tournament talk?
Man, that is very, very tough to say. I think it's too early to say because because realistically, when you look at the Duke game, but we also have Wake Forest and NC State squeezed in there before we play Florida State and Louisville at their place. So realistically, if you lose at Duke, but you win all these other games, if you beat Clemson and Wake Forest and NC State, then you're still looking at a 16-8 and still in okay shape, and then we can maybe talk about it. You lose one of those games against Wake Forest or North Carolina State at home, and then I would probably venture to say that, yes, we probably would need to win one of those games. But I just don't see I don't see the committee taking away a loss at Florida State or a loss at Louisville or even a Duke loss. I mean, it's not going to go against us. It would just be, will we be able to make up the wins everywhere else?
Right. So do you think we got to win one of those 3? I tend to think we do. I tend to think
no.
You don't.
Not if we win all. Not if we win
out.
The rest.
Win the
I don't want to
rest
say win out, but again, you don't really know. Right now, as it stands, we're 4th in the ACC.
Right.
So that's a double bye. I mean, it does take away some chances of getting more wins, but it also puts us in a better opportunity as far as in the ACC tournament to go a little bit further. So, and we don't know where we're going to be as a team when it comes to that point. I mean, 2 weeks ago, we didn't know what Gary Year was going to be like. We didn't even know if we were ever going to see Godian again, right? And we were talking like Sidibe, it is what it is. So, 4 games can change.
Yeah.
4 games can change a lot. No, but that's what it is, right?
Yeah, totally.
It's huge. It's all speculation. You talk about it as it goes, but it's not like these kids can't get better. Teams can. That's the beauty of college basketball.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that there's so many different times and so many different so many different ways that you can play your way into the tournament and get better throughout the whole season. And I think we're seeing that. So,
yeah. One more. This one's just for fun. I think you know what's coming.
Yep.
James on Facebook says, mostly good thoughts, but that game won't win any beauty contest. What do I have to do to become a top fan? So I just suggested, I asked, I didn't say this is what he had to do, but giving Joe a lap dance is not a bad idea. We could make him a top fan for that, right?
No, what, Joe Girard? He's got that kind of eye access?
No, because James come back and he says, Lance, that's done. That's you, buddy. That's you. So I'm glad that you guys had this whole conversation without even talking to me about it. It's on the Facebook page. I thought it was funny. It's probably not funny. It's probably not funny to anybody else but me. To be honest with you, it's probably not even funny to James. But I thought it was funny, so we mentioned it. This is what it did.
There's got to be another way, James. Sorry, that's not an option. I'm closing that door. Sorry, no offense. It's just.
James, you could just be on the Facebook page. You could be on there, like Daryl. Take after Daryl, James. That's how you do it.
Yeah. Don't watch the game and work. But just comment, figure it out, and you'll be a top fan.
Don't watch the game and come to the Facebook page to find out what happened. Basically.
No, James. Look. What does he have to be a top fan for? He guessed. He predicted the score right.
I know, that's right. James did predict the score, didn't he?
Yeah,
he
exact
did.
Score.
And if he would have done that on the scouting report and prediction page, James would be zoom. He'd be getting some mail See?
He'd be getting some mail, he'd be getting some swag, and who knows if that's the thing that tips you over the scale for a top fan.
Yeah, you never know. That's
Never
true.
know.
That's a great point, Joe. I forgot all about that.
Damn sure not a lap dance, I'll tell you that.
I don't know. I still see that could happen.
No.
All right, Joe. Syracuse hits the road yet again to take on the 10-8, 4-4 in the ACC Clemson Tigers. The all-time series with the Tigers sits at 5-4 in favor of Clemson. Can you believe that? I only 9 times have we played. That's crazy to me, I think.
Yeah.
Syracuse, though, winning 4 of the last 7. The two teams split games 1 year ago, going 1-1. Obviously, that's what split games means.
Nice.
I'm not trying to treat you like a bunch of idiots. Clemson's 6'8", Clemson's 6'8", 240-pound junior forward Amir Sims. He leads Clemson in scoring with 13.8 points a game and rebounding with 7.6 rebounds a game and blocks with 0.8 a game. He also leads the team in 3-point shooting percentage with 38.8. That's changed, I think. Oh, no, it hasn't. That's right. He leads them with 38.3% from behind the arc. Sims is followed up in scoring by 6'6", 227-pound guard Tevin Mack. Mack is averaging 11.6 points a game, 5.3 rebounds a game, and that is actually second in rebounds. So there's your top 2 scorers and rebounders. And also he shoots 44.9% from the field. So this year, Clemson has split games with NC State. They beat UNC, which is whatever, but I threw it in there. And they do have a big win against Duke at home. Clemson will be 81st in the net. I was wrong. I said 82nd earlier. They're 81st in the net. This will make this a quad 2 game at Clemson for Syracuse. So, Joe.
Yes.
Amir Sims, right?
Yeah.
It seems like the path to success.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he's a pretty big boy. He's 6'8", 240. And that's basically the guy they rely on. A big part of this game is going to be what he's going to basically do. He's most likely going to be the guy at the free throw line, getting the ball, trying to make stuff happen. And a big aspect of this is what he's going to do with the ball there, if he's going to be able to make the shot, the right pass, and if he's going to be able to rebound. And then also on top of that, it's going to be how our defense kind of adjusts because, I mean, other than the 2 that you named, they don't really have a lot of known scores. They sub a lot. They play a lot. It's kind of been an up and down as far as who they play, who they start, and sometimes they start 2 forwards. Sometimes they start 4 guards. It all depends. I'm assuming that they're going to be playing their 2 forwards, Amir Smith and Hunter Tyson. And they also do have a center that they sometimes bring off the bench, Trey Jamison, who is a big 7 foot, 256 pound sophomore. So he's a big boy. But the thing is that he only averages about 8 minutes a game. He doesn't really play that much. But with our height, we might see him because after those couple guys, then you really only have, 6'6" or lower or shorter guards. Now, I can admit that I probably haven't watched too much Clemson this year. So, but just looking at their numbers and looking at their games and just looking at KenPom, they're ranked 84th in KenPom. Offense not that good, so I do think that they're going to struggle with our zone. They have 6 players that have made double-digit 3-pointers, but not one that's hit 30. So they spread it around. They try to move the ball. I do see a situation where they're probably most likely going to struggle with our zone and what they're going to do. But Brownell's a good enough coach to where he'll be able to probably figure out certain situations as far as getting people open. And
this is like a team kind of similar to Pitt where we don't really know what we're going to get, and it's not because we haven't watched a lot of them or we haven't been paying attention to them much. It's just that it's weird because they've played really good, but they've had some bad losses. You want to talk about bad losses? They've got a couple weird losses on their schedule that they've got. I'm sorry.
Yale.
I'm trying to. Yale.
Yale, Miami. So
Yeah,
I know that they split with NC State. But the thing is, when you look at Ken Pom, their adjusted defense is 49th. So that's where they basically. That's where they keep games close. So we're looking at a similar type of team like Pittsburgh, like you said. They're probably going to have a difficult time scoring, which I do think that they have a better down low guy with Amir Sims. But I don't really know if their guards are as good as Pittsburgh's, but it seems like they are defensively. I just really can't speak for them offensively. So again, kind of a weird matchup for them and for us.
They got the two guys that I mentioned. They run that offense. You want to talk about the offense? That's your offense. It's pretty. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, Tevin Max, he's a senior. Amir Sims is a junior. They've both been getting a lot of playing time and a big part of the team since they were pretty much first 2 years in. So yeah, have the experience. But I just don't know where the rest of the team lies. It doesn't seem like a team kind of in rebuilding. Like you did say, they got a win against Duke, but they're 10-9 and 8th in the ACC.
Well, it's one of those deals where Syracuse beat Duke at home when Duke was ranked first last year. So I mean, we weren't that good. We just caught them. We caught them just right, and you just sometimes you're able to do that. But I don't know how good South Carolina is, or Minnesota, or Colorado. Colorado's ranked. But
Minnesota's not awful.
Okay, South Carolina, probably not terrible. But they got crushed by Minnesota 60-78. So I struggled to score there. And Minnesota seemingly had their way. So I think it's going to be interesting. My thing is just being able to, don't stop what's been working, basically. No. And just keep doing what you've been doing, and don't get too fancy. I think that's what it comes down to. Take care of the ball and keep the rebounds up. And I think we got a shot. This team does worry me a little bit just because of Amir Sims. Yeah,
Sims. Yeah. I mean, if there's a situation, we still got to stay. Just because Amir Sims is there doesn't mean that we stop being aggressive down there.
It should make you more aggressive. Put him in awkward situations. Get him, right. Maybe you probably won't get him in foul trouble, but you could make him, aware that, you're coming after him and you're trying to get him in foul trouble, and, he'll adjust. So he'll have to.
I don't know how many players on this team have gotten a lot of time and experience against this 2-3s, any 2-3 zone that Syracuse has had. I mean, definitely not this particular one, but I just feel like this is one of those teams where they're just kind of limited offensively in certain areas, and I just feel like I don't know what the number is, but there's a number that I know that we could score. Like when you look at like a Pittsburgh, same thing. Like I feel like there's only so much they're going to be able to score against you unless they're just ridiculously hot, right? I think I see the same thing in this team with Clemson. It just depends on how they can stop us and how much we're going to score. And again, obviously, there's always the little things, the rebounds, the turnovers. If we want to play sloppy and miss a bunch of free throws, then they'll be in the game.
It's tough to say. I think their threshold with a team like ours would be, 60, 65, something like that.
No, it might be a little bit. Yeah. I was thinking around somewhere between 65 and 70. I think it's the same thing as far as like, Pittsburgh goes. So, and then obviously
they put up 45 on Yale. So
nice.
54 in South Carolina. But anyway, those are the guys to look for. That's kind of what we do. That's what I like to do in this segment, is to just, make you aware of the guys, get to know these guys. And we only play them once this year, so in the regular season. So, right. We'll go there, we'll play them there. And then we're going to look at, we're going to get ready for Duke. But
Amir Sims is one of their better three-point shooters, too. When
he's
you look
the best three-point shooter. He leads
percentage. Them. Yeah, percentage-wise. Yeah. You got, if you're looking at randos, John Newman, Alamir Dawes, maybe a Curran Scott, forward, Hunter Tyson, the other forward, 6'8", opposite Amir Sims. They got some guys that can shoot, but yeah, I just don't. I don't know. I don't know how consistent they're going to be. And
this Sims is all over the place, man. He does everything.
Oh yeah, and then the way that and then you have to also, talk about the way that we've been playing on the road in the ACC anyway, right? So it'd be a shame to play as well as we have on the road and go and kind of mess that road record up against a team like this that we know. I think that we can match up well with. So show up, be confident.
Yep. Well, they know what they're going to need to do, and it's going to be stop Sims. Anyway, that's it. And sorry for getting to you late during the game and for the show, but we appreciate everybody listening. Obviously, we appreciate everybody who participated in the fan feedback, and along with MyBookie, thank you to them. Go there. If you want to bet online, go there. Go to mybookie.ag. Use the promo code CHAIR to jumpstart your bankroll. They'll match you 100%, whatever you put in, up to $1,000. So, that's it. Thanks to James on guitar. For Joe, I'm Sean. We're out.
Thanks for listening to the Cuse Militia Podcast, the fan's voice with Sean and Joe.